The Colorado Buffaloes are headed back to a conference they once called home, that being the Big 12. And I think this is just me, call me crazy, but I think it's all thanks to Coach Prime Deion Sanders. We got to talk about it after the bumper. Stay tuned. What is going on, everybody? What is going on, everybody? My name is JeffLightsyJr. This is the Victory Formation Sports Show right here on JeffLightsYjr. YouTube, Facebook, and whatever you get your content. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, and notification bell because we upload all the time. Now, the news is coming out. I think it was first reported by Pete Thamel of ESPN that Colorado was headed back to the Big 12. It said sources, Colorado was in discussions about a move to the Big 12, and the school has just completed a board meeting and scheduled another one for tomorrow to discuss the move. The Big 12 is also holding a president's meeting tonight where they're expected to be in an expansion update. This was at 5:04 Eastern. This looks like this is happening right now. Colorado is headed back to the Big 12. Colorado looks like they will be the latest member in a great expansion by the Big 12. So let me kind of like paint the picture for you guys. The Big 12 was in panic mode after last year it was discovered, or maybe was it 2 years ago now, that Texas and Oklahoma were leaving the Big 12 for the SEC. That was a hell of a some people thought it would be a knockout blow. Losing Texas and Oklahoma, two of your most prominent members of your conference. And when I talk about conference, I'm talking about football, y'all. Football rules the day. Now, basketball gets you paid, gets coaches paid, gets players paid, but football is what rules the day. And so when you lose Texas and Oklahoma football specifically, Texas and Oklahoma football, and not just losing them, you're losing them to the SEC. They're already the top dog. They win the championship every freaking year. They get the most NFL draft picks. They are the kings of the crop. And so you're losing your two biggest dogs to the SEC. That sucked. That stung. But what I will say, and what I will, kind of applaud the Big 12 on, is they didn't hesitate. As soon as they lost two of their big dogs, they made moves to make things right. Like, hey, you can't just wholeheartedly replace a Texas and Oklahoma when it comes to brand value, when it comes to, just recognition, when it comes to schools and money and revenue and all that stuff. I get it. But you got to make a move. You cannot be stagnant. You cannot be a woe is me. You got to go out there and make a move and make money moves. And that is what the Big 12 did. First, by going out, getting schools like Cincinnati, like BYU, like UCF, like Houston. Now you can say, okay, those are little pups, but them little pups add up. Them little pups add up. This is the current, what the Big 12 will look like, essentially when it's all said and done. You got, like I said, teams like Cincinnati, BYU, UCF, Houston. Like those are nice additions. Those are nice additions. But then there was a guy that left Jackson State and went to Colorado. That guy goes by the name of Coach Prime. Now, Coach Prime, if you look at these, let me pull up these schools one more time. There's not a powerhouse when it comes, because once again, I'm specifically talking about football. Kansas is a powerhouse in basketball. Kansas State went to the Elite Eight last year, so they're doing some things. But if you look at these group of schools over here, it's not really a powerhouse there. It's not really, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's some good programs and some programs that had a ton of success. West Virginia at one time has had a ton of success. Cincinnati has been to the college football playoff. BYU had Zach Wilson. He was the number 2 overall pick. Tom Herman did some great things at Houston. I really think Gus Malzahn is getting Central Florida cracking. You know what I'm saying? Kansas had a really good season last year. Baylor has had a Heisman Trophy winners, had really good years. Oklahoma State has always been formidable. Texas Tech has scored a lot of points. But there's not a heavyweight at any of these schools. Let's keep it a bean. There's not a heavyweight. There's really good teams, and there's really competitive group, and it's a really good conference overall. There's not a heavyweight. And there's not a ton of star power, right? A lot of like B to B plus schools, maybe even A- schools and teams and programs. But then you add Colorado to this mix with Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders, whether you want to admit it or not, Now, he's a home run. He's a heavyweight. He's a big dog. He's not a small pup. Good or bad, whether his Colorado teams are tremendous or if they're horrible, Deion Sanders is a heavyweight. You add Prime to that mixer group, you add Prime to those schools, you add Prime in Colorado to that. Okay. Okay. And let's not forget, the Big 12 just signed a new huge TV contract. See, that's the problem with the Pac-12. And that is why Colorado, that's why I say you can attribute this to Deion Sanders. Because the moves, the conference realignment is all about football teams. They're not about rivalries. It's about football programs and what football programs can raise the value of our conference brand. That's why Texas and Oklahoma went to the SEC. That's why USC and UCLA went to the Big Ten. It's about what football programs and what football brands can raise the value of our conference brand. That's why the Pac-12 is dying. That's why everybody's trying to get the hell out of the Pac-12. That's why the Pac-12 can't find a media rights partner. The Pac-12's biggest bargaining chip for media rights was Oregon and Deion Sanders of Colorado. Let's call it what it is. All the Pac-12 had left to bargain when it came to getting a new media deal, which they still don't have, by the way, was Oregon and Deion Sanders of Colorado. Now you're losing Deion Sanders of Colorado. Because before Deion Sanders, do you think the Big 12 gave a shit if, excuse my language, but you think they cared if Colorado came back to the conference? Colorado left them to go to the Pac-12 because at the time the Pac-12 was more lucrative. They don't care about adding. If there was no Deion at play, they wouldn't have cared about adding Colorado. What does Colorado bring? Once again, it's not about basketball. It's not about tennis. It's not about women's basketball, men's basketball, baseball, softball, volleyball. All of this conference realignment stuff is about the football programs, the football brands. What football brands can elevate our conference brand? And right now, Colorado Buffaloes is the hottest football brand in college football, period, bar none. They're the hottest brand. I didn't say they was the best program. I didn't say they were going to be good. They're the hottest brand in the country, period. Period. They are. It's a team that has a formidable fan base that used to be good. Used to be good back in the 90s. They were winning championships and Heisman trophies. Even in the early 2000s, they had a Big 12 championship in there. But over the last 20 to 25 years, they've been totally garbage. Then they made one acquisition, and that was acquiring the brand that is Coach Prime. And now their stock is through the roof. It's like getting in on Apple in the 90s. It's like getting in on tech on NVIDIA 2 years ago. That's what Colorado acquired, a brand that is Coach Prime, and it shot their stock through the roof, so much so that it now is going to allow them to change conferences and make more money. They were already making hand over fist with Deion Sanders as their new head coach. They probably acquired $1 billion worth of revenue just over the totality of 1 year. They probably acquired $1 billion worth of revenue. Now they're going to go to a more lucrative conference that'll once again add more money to that university. Now, of course, they'll say, well, Jeff, it's not all about one guy. Like, what if that guy leaves? And eventually he will leave. Whether it's getting a better job or he flames out, whatever it is, he will leave. Let's not get it twisted. He said it at Jackson, and I believe the same goes for Colorado. They're not going to have a tombstone for him to die there. He's going to live. He's going to move on somewhere else. But the Big 12 is worth having. Whether you have Deion for 1, 2, 3, it's worth it. It's worth it. And you're adding Colorado to a conference they were already been in anyway. So it's definitely worth it. And another thing, what this does and why Colorado was eager to make this move, if we pull back up the look at the Big 12 conference, what does this do for Colorado as a university, as a football program? Well, because once again, all of this stuff, conference realignment is all about football. Look at the schools that are in the Big 12. TCU, Texas Tech, Baylor, Houston. What's the common thread between those four schools? Houston, Baylor, Texas Tech, TCU. Where are they all at? They're all in the state of Texas. Where does Deion live? Deion lives in Texas. Deion has been saying He wanted to get back in the state of Texas. He understands how many great players come out of the state of Texas. And he's going to get his guys from Florida. He's always going to have that Florida connection. He's from Fort Myers. He played at Florida State. His best players on his team right now are from the state of Florida. Kamani McLean, Travis Hunter. It looks like they may pull off getting this other cornerback from Florida. So, and now you get to play UCF, which is also in the state of Florida. But getting those 4 schools in the state of Texas now allows you to create a footprint in the state of Texas. I don't think Deion's very interested in recruiting West Coast kids. I just don't. Just based off the way he talks, the way he maneuvers. I think he wants all the kids from the South. He wants kids from Texas. He wants kids from Florida. Obviously, he's going to snag a couple of West Coast kids because he's in Colorado. They're close to the West. But he wants kids from Texas. He wants kids from Florida. Being in the Big 12 Conference allows you to have a footprint in the state of Texas. It does. They host Big 12 Media Days in Arlington, in Dallas. He wants that Texas footprint. He's already got his footprint in Florida, and he can continue to recruit his West Coast kids by being in Colorado. This is a slam dunk win-win-win for everybody. But I don't think this move happens if Danny Cannell or whoever is the head coach at Colorado. This only happens because Colorado's head coach, to me, this only happens because Colorado's head coach is Deion Sanders. Point blank, period. So the reason why this says Colorado can continue to think and reap the benefits of having a Coach Prime as their head coach, it now allows them to make even more money by being in the Big 12 Conference and leaving the Pac-10, Pac-12, the Pac whatever. It's going to be Pac-0 because I think the Pac-12 is about to go up in flames as you continue to see the departures. Now it's Colorado. First it was USC and UCLA. Oregon, Washington. They'll probably be next. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Colorado is headed to the Big 12, first reported by Pete Thamel. My name is JeffLightsyJr. This is the Victor Formation Sports Show right here on JeffLightsYJr. YouTube, Facebook, wherever you get your content. Do me a favor. Hit that thumbs up button. Like, share, subscribe, and notification bell because we upload all the time. Also, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at JLightsy7. That is on Instagram and Twitter at JLightsy7. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Peace.